findings show the coronavirus likely spread to humans from an animal. That's according to scientists from the World Health Organization who spent 12 days in Wuhan researching the origins of the pandemic. Quote's Madison Mills is here with more. Maddie?
Thanks so much, Renita. Like you mentioned, a team of 14 scientists spent 12 days really digging into the origins of this virus. And of course, we know that this is extremely important for preventing any additional pandemics that may come in the future, and also for giving us critical information about the variants that we're seeing. So I first want to tell you a little bit about this group of scientists. They split into 3 separate teams. One of them looked at the epidemiology of the virus and how it was able to spread to humans. The other looked into the involvement of animals or the environment in the spread of SARS-CoV-2. And lastly, the third group looked at the development of the virus itself. And again, that third group, very critical here for any information that we may need to be able to understand how virus variants may evolve. So now we can get to some of the preliminary findings that this group of scientists were able to suss out over the course of their research. And 2 big things I want to hammer in on here. One is that they were not able to find any substantial evidence of the virus existing in Wuhan prior to December of 2019. So that is a big piece of information for scientists to be able to understand the origin of this virus, right? And then the other piece of news we're hearing is that it's very unlikely that the virus came from the lab in Wuhan that's been at the center of a conspiracy theory that was supported by President Trump. I want to take a quick listen to what the program director of the study had to say about this theory earlier today. Let's take a listen.
Unfortunately, we have many examples from many countries in the world of past accidents. So, of course, this is not impossible. It happens once in a while. The fact that nowhere previously was this particular virus researched or identified or known. There have been no publication, no reports of this virus or another virus extremely linked or closely linked to this being worked with in any other laboratory in the world. And we also know that when lab accidents happen, they are, of course, extremely rare. If you look at the history of lab accidents, these are extremely rare events.
And I want to dig into 3 theories that the researchers did look into. I have a graphic that I want to show you about this. One is the theory that it originated in a lab, which you just heard the director of this program saying is very unlikely. But there are 2 others that researchers spent a lot of time unpacking. One is the wet market theory, and this is the idea that the virus originated at a wet market in Wuhan. Now, the question is, where exactly it came from, right? And which animal products sparked the spread of SARS-CoV-2. Some researchers found some evidence of frozen wildlife contributing to the spread of the virus. But again, very preliminary information here. We're going to have to get a lot more research from these scientists in the months to come to confirm which exact animal product the virus may have stemmed from. Another theory that we're hearing about is the idea that the virus could have come from the lab, right? Like we mentioned earlier, the conspiracy theory that the virus may have started from a lab, that's something that the researchers over the course of the past 12 days were able to mainly debunk. And lastly, you know, it's important to talk about the sample data that these researchers looked into. They looked at tens of thousands of original viruses that were infecting people in the area, and were able to interview individuals who were first infected with coronavirus and get a lot of information from them about where they were, what activities they were participating in when the virus first began. And again, another big piece of news here is about the timeline, which is very critical for researchers. We're hearing December 2019. The Chinese government, by the way, is also still continuing to push forward the idea that the virus did not originate there. And this is something that World Health Organization officials are really focusing on in their research as well.
Maddie, deep insight on the origins of the coronavirus. Thank you so much for laying that out for us.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.